All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're deconstructing a really powerful piece of writing. It's a message of encouragement for a community that's going through some incredibly tough times. And it all revolves around one central, unforgettable metaphor: a bus.
So, what's so interesting is how this message starts. It doesn't begin with rules or doctrine. It starts with pure empathy. It says right up front, I see you. I see your pain. And it completely reframes their struggle, saying that just hanging on isn't weakness. It's actually a sign of incredible strength.
And this really brings us to the first major theme here, starting with a cry from the heart. The entire argument is built on this foundation of understanding and shared suffering. And look, these aren't just vague problems. The message gets incredibly specific. Collapsing marriages, the sting of betrayal, money troubles, even the silent personal wounds that nobody else can see. That kind of specificity is so important. It's how the author builds trust and shows, hey, I actually get it. So once that empathetic connection is made, the message pivots. It starts to cackle a really common temptation, this idea that happiness is always just somewhere else.
It taps right into that if only feeling we all know so well, right? That little voice that says, if only I had more money, or if only I lived somewhere else, then everything would be okay. The message puts that thought front and center to make you question it. And here is the big counter-argument. It basically says that the thing you're desperately craving, whether it's wealth or a new life somewhere else, is an illusion. Someone else has that exact thing, and they're just as desperate to get away from it. The point is, those external things can't heal the deep internal stuff.
So if just changing your circumstances isn't the answer, then what is? Well, this is where we get to the core metaphor of the entire piece, the bus to salvation. So here's how the analogy works. Picture this: a volcano is erupting. That's all the chaos and danger in the world. You have to escape. And the bus, in this story, represents the specific spiritual path or organization that offers the only way to safety. And notice the intense urgency here. This isn't a casual, hey, think about it kind of choice. It's framed as a life or death decision that has to be made right now. When disaster is striking, you can't afford to hesitate. You've got to get on a bus.
Okay, but what's the journey on this bus actually like? Well, this is where the message gets surprisingly honest. It argues that while the ride is far from perfect, it offers a unique kind of protection that you just can't find anywhere else.
And this part is absolutely crucial. The message does not sugarcoat it. It says flat out, the road is going to be bumpy. The driver, the leadership, might make some sharp, confusing turns. And your fellow passengers, they're going to be flawed. The bus might even break down. It's a clear warning. This is no promise of a smooth ride. So you have to be wondering, why would anyone stay on a bus like that? Well, the answer it gives is divine guidance. It uses scripture to make the argument that even with all the problems you can see, there's a higher power that's ultimately steering the thing. And here, the message lays out this really stark black and white comparison. On one hand, you have our bus. Yes, it's got its problems, but it has a divine navigator, a clear destination, and a supportive, if imperfect, family on board. On the other hand, all the other buses are portrayed as total chaos, lost drivers, no safety, and they're all heading straight for disaster. And they use this bit of scripture to really hammer that point home. It's a clear warning. Be careful about choosing a path that just seems right on the surface, because it could be leading you somewhere you really don't want to go. So all of this, the empathy, the analogy, the stark choices, it's all been building up to one final, powerful plea. It shifts from explaining to just asking for endurance. To set this up, it brings in this famous question from the Apostle Peter. The logic is simple. Even when things are incredibly difficult, is there really a better alternative? The question hangs in the air. Where else would you go? And that's when the message turns and speaks directly to that person, the one who's hurting, the one who is just about ready to give up. It starts to strip away all the complex arguments and brings everything down to its single, most important point. And there it is, just one word: stay. That is the central command, the ultimate plea of this entire piece. Whatever you do, don't get off the bus. So why stay? It really boils down to three core justifications. 1, the driver is faithful, meaning you can trust the divine guidance. 2, the destination is sure, so you know where you're going. And 3, the company, despite all their flaws, is your family.
And this is the ultimate promise. This is the destination. This is the reward you get for enduring that long, bumpy ride. It's this vision of a future with no more pain, and it's presented as the one thing that makes the entire journey worth it. So, in the end, when you strip it all the way, the entire message really leaves you with one big question to chew on. Is a difficult, imperfect journey with a guaranteed destination better than a seemingly comfortable ride that's ultimately going nowhere? It's a powerful choice to consider, and that's the question this message leaves us with.